I fancy doing a little rant because really what this was is I was having a bit of a think the other day. I was actually in the shower, doing my showering thing and cleanliness and all that. And what I decided was that there's a lot of people who make me ashamed to be English or British if you want to even go mass generalization. Now, I'm not saying that I don't like this country. I'm just saying that I don't like a lot of the people in this country. So I'm going to break down the list of people who make me ashamed to be English and as a result should be ashamed of themselves. So in no particular order, with no particular preference, I will begin with... What are you doing, crazy cat? I will begin with Black Friday shoppers. Black Friday shoppers. Yes, you see, here's a little thing about Black Friday. Black Friday is something that is American, and for some reason last year we decided we were going to do this whole big Black Friday thing for reasons that I don't even know. I don't know. People wanting money, whatever. But last year it was basically a failed experiment. We had a load of people go out, they decided to get into fights and riots and just generally punching each other in the face and being unpleasant. And this year, they did it again. They didn't do that again. No. There was no riots, there was no punch-ups, bust-ups, fights or anything like that. But they did Black Friday again. So that meant to say that at a certain time of the year, all the stores, they went crazy because they were expecting all this stuff to happen, They had early starts, increased security presence. A few major supermarkets in the UK decided they weren't going to do it because of what happened last year. Which, frankly, more of them should have done. What happened? 30 people turned up to each store in an orderly queue, and all the supermarkets were like, oh well, this was underwhelming. This was a waste of money and resource. We lost all this stuff, whatever. The big important thing here is people are playing dumb. See? Here's what's happening. People are saying, oh well, last year was all these mass riots, so the supermarkets suddenly said they're not going to do it. So what's going to happen? Well, we're all going to go to a different supermarket then that is doing it, and we're going to be really good. So next year, all the other supermarkets are going to say, well, there was no issues then. They're going to open it, and what's going to happen? People are going to come in, they're going to be punching each other in the face, they're going to be kicking each other in the face, they're going to be smashing each other's faces into the ground, generally doing stuff with the base. I'm suddenly turned into John Cena. Can't see me. Yeah. Moving on. Simon Cowell. Yes, Simon Cowell, the media mogul, the devil to musicians everywhere. A man with no musical talent whatsoever who thinks he knows what musical talent is. Now, let's also let's forget about all the big commercialization things here. Let's talk about how he runs TV shows which basically victimize people. It doesn't show you the people throwing up being really nervous, it just shows you them being very, very arrogant and cocky or whatever. It basically, he comes on like this really, really smug guy and he insults and humiliates people and he does all this stuff, and then fundamentally what ends up happening is well, people get exploited and everything like that. You know what, right? Simon Cowell is the kind of guy, okay, who, when he was in school, right, he probably went around being really, really obnoxious and everything like that, and everyone just wanted to punch him in the face. And then he probably got punched in the face a few times, but because he was rich, he bought people off, and then they eventually left him alone. I don't know. I want to punch him in the face. I'm not condoning violence, and I'm not going to punch him in the face, and I'm not threatening him. I'm just saying that if it came down to it, if it was the end of the world, it was an apocalyptic scenario, and it was just him and me, we were the last two people left in the world, I would punch him in the face, and I would keep doing it, and I would do it again and again and again because of everything that he stands for and who he is. I have a cat. Okay, group of people again. Basically, I'm going to lump all these people together. These are groups like EDL, BNP, Britain First. Now, I know that you can say, well, all three of these groups, one's a political party, one is more of a socialist movement, and one is a bunch of people on Facebook who don't know how to shut up. But fundamentally, they all kind of stand, for the same sort of thing. That same sort of thing is rampant xenophobia disguised as patriotism. Now, as I said earlier on, I'm actually not completely against England. It's just occasionally there are stupid people from England, and this is it. These are the ones who make us look bad. These are the people who come along and say, oh, well, not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims and all that kind of thing. It's well, let me make a few comparisons, okay? Britain First, an organisation which actually asks people for money and will take money from people, but won't tell you where that money goes. No, they won't. They won't do that. No. ISIS, well actually IS, as they should actually be accurately called, because ISIS is a name given to them by the Western government, but we'll continue. An organisation which takes money from people and doesn't tell you what they spend it on. There you go, yeah, we've got another thing like that. Britain First, an organisation who basically try and take over various towns and try to sort of dominate that society. IS, try and take over various towns, dominate that society. Britain First lump entire groups of people, in this case Muslims, into the same category, despite the fact that they actually really only have issues with the outspoken minority. IS lump an entire group of people, Westerners, into the same category, despite the fact that they really only have an issue with a few people, really, but they lump it all together. Britain First basically teach hatred and militism. IS teach hatred and militism. What am I saying? Oh, I'm saying that all these groups are as bad as the people they have an issue with. Here's a little thing. Just everyone shut up. Let's forget all the politics, let's forget that. Just everyone shut up, go home, mind your own business, and then we'll all leave you alone. Okay? And I mean, everyone will be left alone. I mean, all these people on Britain First, let's be honest, and these infidels of Great Britain, as they call themselves, you know, all that kind of thing, we'll leave them alone. We'll leave them alone on the condition that they shut up and they go home and they stop filling my Facebook feed with all this stuff. And all the people from IS, just stop doing what you're doing. You know, just stop it. It's not cool. It's not cool to be killing people and doing all that kind of stuff. Just stop doing that. But here's the thing about Britain First. They probably would be doing the same things if they had the chance to do it. They would be. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit political now. So, before I break into a political rant, I'll give you another person who makes me ashamed to be English. Prime Minister David Cameron. Oh, I went back into politics. Well, here we go. Prime Minister David Cameron. Let's forget the politics for a minute, alright? Now, I do not agree with his politics. You know, I'm fairly outspoken with that, and I'm not going to talk about that though. Fundamentally, what is the biggest issue here? Now, the biggest issue with Prime Minister David Cameron is that he's the kind of person that if you were in a room with him, you wouldn't be able to go for more than 5 minutes without wanting to punch him in the face. I'm just saying, he's the kind of guy that when he was in school, he thought he was better than everyone else, and I'm not saying that because he's Eton educated. I never went to school with the guy, but I went to school with people like him. They were smart people, they were academics, and they were achievers, and I've got no issue at all with smart people, academics, or achievers. None whatsoever. But if you're a smart person who is well aware of the fact that you're smart and looks down at everyone else because of it, then we're going to have an issue. Now, I was a bit of an outcast in school, you know, and there was another kid in my school who was also a bit of an outcast. We were outcasts for different reasons, really. I mean, with me, it's pretty obvious why I was an outcast. Look at me. This guy, he was very intelligent, and he was very snobby about the intelligence. Now again, he was not the only intelligent overachiever in my school, but he was the only one that was an outcast because of it, because of the way he behaved. Now, I'm not condoning the bullying and things like that, because I was bullied by the same people that bullied him, and it's not cool. And these are the kind of people who, frankly, I think if you're a schoolyard bully, right, I don't care what your circumstances are, you should go to Mexico, you should be blindfolded and tied up, and then you should be strung up by your toenails, and then a bunch of kids in blindfolds with earmuffs who've previously been told that you're a piñata should come in, and they should all be given baseball bats for what they think is baseball bats, but in reality they're baseball bats with nails through the top of them that they don't know about, and they're swinging away thinking this is a piñata when it's actually a schoolyard bully, because schoolyard bullying is not cool. I completely lost my trail of thought. Let's just say David Cameron, I don't like the guy because of his politics, and because I just think he's a generally unpleasant human being. Yeah, I don't know, I've rambled for enough. If I actually sit down and think about this, then I probably will end up coming up with some more people. Although again, do you know, I work in retail, so really I can just talk about like people I don't like for a long time, really. I'll give you a personal grievance, and not a lot of people are going to be able to relate to this, but I will use it as an example. Right, I work in retail, and occasionally I have to do 2 jobs. Now what I mean by this is, well, I'll break it down for you. I'm a fishmonger, okay, right, yeah, you know, fishmonger, great, whatever. and I occasionally, most of the time I work alongside a butcher, and occasionally that butcher might have to go on break, or there might be someone's called in sick or whatever, and I have to work the butchery side of it as well as the fishmongering side of it, okay? Now, every time I have to go from counter to counter, I have to wash my hands, I have to clean myself up, I have to get ready because obviously it's a cross-contamination issue. So, if someone wants to buy something on both counters, fine, not a problem, you know, whatever, just give me enough time to clean up and do all that. But let's say I'm on one counter, somebody comes to the other one, and so I drop what I'm doing, you know, I might be in the middle of something, but I drop what I'm doing, and I clean myself up, and I run over there, and I serve them, and then they say, oh, and I wanted something on the other counter as well. So I got to clean myself up, I got to run over there, I got to serve them again, when I was actually already ready to serve them by the time they came up. Now, not a lot of people can be able to relate to that, because not a lot of people do my job. That's fair enough. Not a lot of people like the smell of dead fish. I personally do not really care. I don't think she cares. I think she's gone to sleep, which is nice because she's been going crazy all afternoon. What was I talking about? Yeah, I don't know. That said, there are some lovely customers, and there are some customers that just need a punch in the face. And if you're the kind of person that thinks that kicking off is going to get you what you want, here's the thing, it won't, because we're going to ignore you. If you, I think the mentality is, oh, if I kick off with member stuff in a supermarket, then that means they're going to try and get rid of me, so they won't want to make a fuss or whatever. Now, you're right about one thing, we will try and get rid of you, but we're not going to do it by giving you what you want. We're going to do it by walking away, and we're going to leave you. And then we're going to make sure that no one else helps you too, because you've been really obnoxious. And in fact, if someone really rubs you up the wrong way, I will try and get them banned from the store. And we can do that, because if you're rude to members of staff, we can get you banned for it. So don't be rude to members of staff, just be polite, really. Because half the time, you're the problem. Now that's not all customers, obviously, I'm talking about an outspoken minority, because I wouldn't actually be the kind of people who would treat an outspoken minority as the majority, you know, like Britain First, the EDL or the BNP. Oh, by the way, the BNP, they might be trying to hide it now, but back in the day they didn't even try and disguise the fact they were a Nazi organisation. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this video up now because I'm going back into the politics and I haven't really spoken about anything that is related to this channel. I am normally a guitar channel and guitar service will resume at some point. I haven't had a lot of time for making videos lately because I've been kind of sorting out stuff in the flat or, you know, looking after something small and furry. She's gone to sleep. She's lovely, really. Anyway, I'll make another video at some point and it will be guitar related. Peace out, guys.